I wanted you to jump on today, and we wanted to talk about, navigating the recent National Association of Realtors settlement buyer agent commission changes, and how that court ruling kind of changed the way buyers are now placing offers, and what that looks like from the mortgage end. And I feel like you could really help navigate our listeners and some realtors through this. So thanks for coming on.
Prior to recently, it was a what if scenario. It was a conversation that, okay, what happens if the rule changes this way or that way? And it was a bit of a guessing game, if you will. Not sure how it was going to pan out, but now that it's panned out, and now that there is a ruling and there's a definitive change in the rules on how buyer agents receive commission, and there's clarity there, it's now become, it should be a part of everybody's discussion. So if you're a buyer out there, be ready to have this conversation. Be aware that this conversation is coming down. It's going to be a part of the process of getting pre-approved and searching for a home. Overall, my viewpoint is that it's intended to be very clear about who's making what money and how they're getting paid, and pushing for full disclosure on terms, especially with the seller selling their house, how where their money's going to, what they're who they're hiring and how they're getting paid and where the money's going. And then with the buyers, how much their representation costs, and what the real estate agent and the buyer, the buyer's agent and the buyer themselves are going to agree to as they go through the process of purchasing a home. And how it translates to me is that if there is any additional out-of-pocket expenses that come directly from the buyer, they should be accounted for with the pre-approval, and just like attorney fees and closing costs for the lender. That is, again, should be a part of every conversation that a buyer has with A, their agent, and B, their mortgage lenders, to make sure that they're accounting for all the money that it takes. One important tip that I want to make sure everybody hears is that the commission is based off of, 2%, 3%, 1%, whatever the percentage is. It's going to change from house to house. So you can't just pick out a dollar amount. You can't just have one. You got to have it's like, you're looking at a $300,000 house or a $700,000 house, because that dollar amount changes. So let's understand the equation first and how it works, and then we can apply it to address to address. Yeah. And number two is that, just to your point, is that a lot of sellers are still offering this co-broke that pays for a buyer's agent compensation, and things might not be dramatically different, and there might not be a big surprise to anybody, and it's very similar to the way it was before. The difference of why are we even talking about this is now that everything is disclosed to the person who's paying the fees. So if it's the seller paying the fees, they're fully aware now. It's requiring full disclosure. If it's the buyer paying a portion of the fees and the seller paying another portion, good. It's fully disclosed from the beginning. So the conversation is, one, what does it look like on a general conversation about what your expectation is and what the buyer's expectation is, and then as you shop for your house, if it starts to get more expensive out of pocket for the buyer, have that conversation with the lender from the beginning. If you sign the purchase and sales agreement, and all of a sudden halfway through or the fourth quarter of the game, you get an updated closing disclosure with a fee sheet breakdown, and there's the buyer's agent portion fee of the situation, you will be shocked. So, I know it's a big responsibility for us to now be repetitive and constant, and on every single deal have that conversation. And then it's good for your lender and your real estate agent to communicate and work as a team together, so that way you're getting the full picture the correct way from the beginning.